Lights would be good here. Lights.
No, you're not going to get those.
No, really, lights would really be good here.
Put it close to your face and take it off.
Can you switch the lights on?
We've got a tool.
Chef, can you switch the lights on?
There are any more.
Lights on, no?
Come up this end, Scott.
Thanks.
Scott, you'll have to be outside.
He's saying, you know, that's 2 minutes.
Will,
Get on with it.
Can I put lights on? Right, okay. What?
On!
Because I lied when I was 17. Turn the lights on.
Can you see the angels?
Yeah, that's better. Okay. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you. Before we move on, can we please thank the management and the staff of the.
No one's there.
Can I also thank all those people in whatever way helped with today in terms of the production of the cards in the introduction, all that. And Lucy and Karen. I should warn you, this speech does ramble on a little bit.
Get on with it!
It does, and for a very good reason. Because there's a lot of fuckers here. And there's a lot of you here that I am in debt to, and I want to thank each and every one of you. Firstly, can I call upon Keith Pagan and Brian Cullum to step up on behalf of the Cancer Macmillan Research and RNLI, and we've got £800 for cancer research, £200 for the RNLI.
I've got to tell you why. Scott probably hasn't told you. The reason the RLNI, my wife's cousin is the director of the RLNI in the Isle of Wight. I have just finished my presidency of my bowling club, and I raised £3,740 for the Hampshire and Isle of Wight here ambulance. So when you live on the Isle of Wight, you need people like him.
Absolutely.
Okay, eyes down. Thank you, Mr.
When you live in Bali, you don't do it.
Right, okay. Are the people out in the exclusive room, the RI's
Tick,
One man down. Please bear with me, there's a lot of you to get through here. I will read this as fast as I can.
No, enjoy.
Get on with it. I've got a carry 5.
Right, okay. Now, and there is a lot of, so thank you. After the speech. Welcome to the 35th Winter School, a glorified pub crawl across the streets of London, taking in a bit of culture. And my thanks are extended to Barry, George, Andy, Andrew, Frank and John for allowing me to hijack such with my birthday celebration. I'm sure Steve Howe,
God bless you, soul.
who's unfortunately no longer with us, would approve, and I'm sure he's with us in spirit.
Charlton support.
Let me take you back. Let me take you back to 1947. God, this is going to roll on. Let me take you back to 1947. My mum, 2801273, and my dad, 178601. It was a time of change, a period of austerity, national service, national assurance, national health service, the Beveridge Report, the introduction of comprehensive education, rationing, still in existence. My dad served in the RAF for 12 years. He was an aircraft fitter. My mum, a girl from Brixton, stationed at Rosyth Dockyard. They met at Kinema Ballroom in Dunfermline. They married in Holy Trinity Church in 1950. I guess by the time that I arrived in 1955, my dad's time was served elsewhere. Somebody would like to tell me what was going on between 1950 and 1955, but I know they kept on going on about if I wasn't for the Gurkhas, I wouldn't be here. 1955, I was born in Dunfermline Maternity Hospital. I lived in Inverkeithing under the railway bridge, the road bridge being built at that time. 1960. 1960, I moved to Lansdale House, which is on the Tubbs Hill estate, and I travelled back in time between here and from King's Cross to Edinburgh. I had this romantic notion in my head that I was flying on the Flying Scotsman, but when I looked it up, I think it was decommissioned. I went to Brockwell School. I sat next door. I sat next to Jenny Agutter, her of railway fame. So she said, my first knowledge of football, 1963, was the first cup final, was Dennis Law. Dennis Law, the greatest player in my who was ever. Where's Ray? Dennis Law, 3-1, and Manchester United beat Leicester 3-1. We moved to 19 APAC Road in Brixton, and I transferred schools to Holy Trinity Primary School. I excelled in singing. I got the choir prize 3-4 years on it. This was going for a long time if you want to interrupt. 3-4 years. I was also, football was my game, and I scored on my debut. Tooting Beck Common, and I also played with South London Boys, where I also scored on my debut. I met Jeff Knight at that time, and also Ray Watson at the flats at the end of the road. My first game, Palace, 1967. Palace 5, Northampton 1, October. Later that year we beat Wolves Hull and we won them 4-0. I dabbled with going at Chelsea and Arsenal. It wasn't for me. Supporting Palace has been a constant in my life. The highs and the lows of relegation battles, near misses and promotions, playoff finals, and along some of you who have been here today. Having blown up Wandsworth Road, having blown up Wandsworth Road, my dad ended up in St Thomas's Hospital. My dad was an electrician, and he moved on to meter reading with the LEB in Bentry Road in Camberwell. He dedicated his life to the Scout movement, and I too was also involved in the Cubs and Scout, the 2nd South Lambeth, the 15th South Lambeth. And I later was a Cub instructor for 8 years. We did lots of camping. I never really had a proper holiday, in fairness, until I was 19. And even then, it was to a holiday camp on the Isle of Wight. In 1967, I left Holy Trinity School to go to Archbishop Tennyson's grammar school. I didn't really like it, but I had to go. I was supposed to be cool at music. I was 5th grade music piano. I was won the choir prize, and I was going to go on to be head choir boy at Southern Cathedral. My voice didn't break until I was 15. 1969, I didn't really like Archbishop Tennyson's. I didn't really want to be there. I really wanted to go to Baxter. And I'm really pleased that both Alan Brown and Bob Hart and Mark Pearson are here today. I won choir prizes, but generally speaking, it wasn't a happy time for me. I didn't play for the old boys, but I left grammar school education. What a wasted time I had, boys, with 3 O-levels. By this time, I was well into Palace away games, and I started to discover rock music. I followed Slade, Black Sabbath, The Who. I went to both Charlton gigs in the 70s, Deep Purple, Status Quo, and Stray. All in my mind. Stray, which probably accounts for my deafness now. And I was also in a band called Reebok, and later even dabbled with the Streatham Hill Light Operatics. In 1973, we're getting there, boys. 1973, I left school. I went to Lambeth. 11 glorious years. I had 11 glorious years. They were the happiest time, and it was based on a department that worked hard, played hard. It's remarkable that 34 years on from now, we're now regenerating all that we built back in Stockwell and Brixton. It was there that I met my life mentor. I left my life mentor, Brian Cullum, who neither wants to be associated with that as a good thing or a bad thing. But anyway,
Don't you blame me.
don't you blame me. And Alan and Clive, and there was football, cricket, badminton, bowls, snooker, car rallies, 1830 holidays to Carview.
Yeah, we went to work,
We went a week in Moscow. It was a crazy time. Friday afternoons were just a blur. And up in, I played football. I played football for Lambeth, Borough Values, John Parker. Between the ages of 12 and 15, my football deteriorated somewhat, and I played alongside John. And I'd have to say, my game picked up again, and I thank you.
He's went downhill.
As you all know, I can talk a very good game when it comes to football. So it should be no real surprise that in 1978 I went along and I took the FA prelim course in Durham University. I was there with all sorts of professional footballers, it says without Al. But over the years I coached at Coulston, Woodmanston and Selsdon. I was responsible for Gareth Southgate, I guess, missing that penalty. There's a lot to thank Lambeth for. Day release, ONC, H&C, degrees in public administration, Croydon College of Technical Education. It was also where I met my first wife, Pam, and Mike was my best man. And the stag night was in the Royal Standard in Croydon, and I moved to Coulston to the Mount, and I thought it was ever so posh at the time. There you go. You can imagine where I came from. 1982, I got married, and my friendship with Terry and Roy started, and we played lots of snooker. And I do enjoy our time together, and I hope in time will allow for us to spend more time down at the Checkers in Stenning. 1984 was a really silly time in local government. You know all about it, you guys. 1984 was a silly time in local government, and I moved from Hackney. Oh no, sorry, I moved to Hackney, which for most people would be like out of the frying pan and into the fire. But not for me. I was very fortunate. I met George and Barry. And that was all to change. And my life went from having a job to having a career. George encouraged me to take on responsibility, the economic and the environmental programmes, doing up Broadway Market, which is now very, very, very trendy, and painting all those bridges across the borough. It's also where I acquainted myself with Martin Richardson, and most notably with Super Alan Dowie, who at that time was just a face in the Rose and Crown at West Norwood. In 1986, you're all going to get caught here. In 1986, I joined Kensington and Chelsea and enjoyed that time before I was poached to join Bromley. I enjoyed the Kensington and Chelsea food fight at Christmas 1986, where we'd done £20,000 worth of damage. I was involved in £1,000 people food fight, which I was able to relive recently with his and his wife. I also remember my time at Kensington and Chelsea. It's been a time where Dave Allen, the comedian, nearly run me over outside Kensington Town Hall. As I'm going through this speech, I suspect most of you think probably wish I did, or be hit me. I picked up bowls. I took up, and that took over my life. And where I met Nigel, who's sleeping next door. And I still remember my first borough final, which was the most enjoyable bowls experience that I can remember. Nigel, with Witters getting diarrhea in the first round. People playing bagpipes in the second round. We were locked in. There were substitutes in the quarter final. Somehow it was just meant to be. And the day of the final, where Steve Jolly turned up and basically brought out the kitchen of the Shirley Park Wales Club. 1987, October, Bromley, Day of the Storm. 1987, October, Bromley, Day of the Storm, where I was to really excel. Last council to be building homes, and they're responsible for building housing associations, along with John Wafer, who can't be here today. I hope she says yes. John's elsewhere, and I hope she says...
always elsewhere.
No, he's elsewhere, and I hope she says yes. Our day was Beaujolais Day, and we celebrated long and hard each year. In 1989, I separated from Pam and started a secondment to Bromley Health Authority, closing Cane Hill, responsible for buying and building all the replacement homes, reporting directly to 10 Townend Street.
That was Cane Hill.
Life's most notable achievements, all about came from a notable handover with Mike Carpenter, the director of social services. In December '89, I moved to Southbridge Road, the pub opposite the Wheelwright's Arms.